This is assignment 6.4 by Morgan Williams. So we did 3 modules, and the first one is notation analysis. So we did 2 tests. The first test is the jump shot and the rebound test. For the jump shot, we got the client to stand behind the free throw line and throw the ball 10 times. For the rebound test, the administrator would throw the ball at the board and the client would be under the hoop, hoping to catch it. For the performance indicators, we selected were jump shot unforced, jump shot forced, rebound unforced, and rebound forced. The performance criteria was whether they succeeded or failed with each skill. For the rebound, it was successfully if they caught the ball, and for the jump shot, it was successful if they went in the net. With these skills, we performed them separately. Unforced were performed without a defender, and forced were performed with a defender. This allowed us to see the client's pure ability with and without a defender. We took the height of all the clients. So when we collected this data, we can see that the average score of the forced jump shot was 2.2, which if we compare to the unforced jump shot was an average of 2.9. If we look at both Jade's score, she was above both averages with both shots, with the unforced being a 0.2 higher than average. When we look at Ben's score for the unforced, it was 0.9 but below average, which we can suggest that height doesn't have a significant factor in jump shot scores, as Jade was also 0.8 above with the forced jump shot, which supports the evidence against that taller people, the better the scores are, which we didn't suspect during this test. When we look at both Jade's and Ben's forced jump score, we can suggest that the pressure affected Ben's performance, as he missed 80% of his shots and Jade missed 70% of hers. When we look at the jump shot, experience and technique are a factor, as they have limited skill. With Jade's result, we can see that the score is above average in both the forced and unforced, and whilst it's good, she only achieved 30%, so there's much room for improvement. So when we get to the technical model, we can compare her form to an elite athlete, which can tweak the minor faults. So when we look at the forced and unforced rebound scores, when we look at this data, we can see that there is an average of 4.2 in the forced rebound. If we compare this to Jade's score with the average, she was 2.8 higher with a score of 7. This data will go against the relationship that height will affect her scoring. This also supports the suggestion that height doesn't affect the rebound scores, as Ben and Jade's got similar results, and they have a very big height difference, with Ben being 182 centimeters and Jade being 162. We used defenders with similar heights, which suggests with the results that the height factor and rebound scores have a weak relationship. When we look at the tacky jump, there was an average of 48. When we look at Jade, she only had an average of 44, which is 4 points below average. This jump is fundamental base for a good shot, as it allows the individual to reach a high height from the ground. Having a bad jump match score can decrease the success of a shot. Therefore, Jade improving her jump score will increase her successfulness of shots. When we look at Ben's score, he achieved 49, which is just above average, which means there's still room for improvement. Even though his score is above average on this test, reflecting on his other tests which were below, we can suggest to improve the tacky test, which will increase the success of the shots, as it will decrease the distance from the ball to the net. So the second module we looked at was a technical analysis. For this model, we used both literature and the elite comparison to identify the client's faults in their technique. Our videos were set up from the side of the client's shooting arm, as we were able to see the angle of the joints and a clear vision. However, some of the elite athletes' pictures aren't the same angle, so it's hard to compare as well. So the literature of the jump shot, with the preparation phase, feet should be shoulder width apart, bend at the knees, and then spread your fingers and hold the ball in your dominant hand. This will allow control, and with your upper part of the shooting arm is to be horizontal to the body, to the body of the elbow and wrist. Should be at 90 degrees angles. With the execution phase, when ready to jump straight up, release the ball at the top. Jumping straight up increases the consistency of successive shots and accuracy. The ball should fly in an arced motion, so it should land in the net. If it's too low, then it won't go in the net. With the recovery phase, you must follow through with the extension of the arm and a flick of the wrist. So when we look at the elite comparison, when we compare Jade's and the elite athletes' preparation phase, we can see there is a similar form where both their legs are slightly bent on and their eyes are focused on the basketball net. We can't properly compare the two forms, as Jade took the shot stationary, whereas the athlete took the shot from a dribble. We can assume Jade has more stability, as an equal distribution of the weight in her feet, and that her feet are shoulder width apart. With the execution phase, comparing these forms, you can see that Jade has executed as form as well as the elite athlete. One reason being Jade has not as much experience compared to the athlete. From the picture, you can see Jade's jump slightly forward compared to the perfect model, where he jumped straight up. The elite athlete released the ball at the peak of his jump and his arm bent, which allowed him to generate power to throw the ball, whereas Jade point where she released the ball was slightly further than it should have been, resulting a lack of success in the jump shot. With the recovery phase, we can see that Jade will be off balance in this phase due to her leaning forward in the execution phase. If she performed the form correctly in this phase, she would have travelled straight down with her legs together like the elite athlete's form. This will make her unbalanced, which will affect her overall performance, as she won't be ready to set off again, and if the ball does not go to net, will be ready for the rebound. Both Jade and the elite athlete have full extension in their arm and flexion in their wrist. For the numerical model, Newton's third law states that for every force there is an equal and opposite reaction. To form a jump shot, the player will shift their centre of mass downwards by bending their knees, which increases their force from the ground. This links to Newton's third law, as the greater the force they put into the ground, the higher the athlete can achieve to jump. This will once again shift the centre of mass upwards due to pushing off the ground with their legs. For the feedback for this jump shot, during this jump shot, you should have had a 90-degree bend in your knees, shoulder width apart, and had a flexion in your wrist. Release the ball at apex and have a full extension after the ball is released. However, with your performance, Jade, in the preparation phase, as when looking through your videos, your feet are not shoulder width apart. Your shooting arm should have been 90 degrees horizontally, which would have increased your accuracy of the shot. In the execution phase, your jump needs to be more straight, up at 90 to 180 degrees angle, like the elite athlete, rather than 150 degrees like you were. This will allow for more stability in the next phase, which we saw. The release of the ball is very important as well, as this should be at the peak height, which in your performance it wasn't correct. In the recovery phase, you were off balance due to the jump being more further forward, so therefore adjusting the foot placement will allow you to recover more quickly. With your results in the jump shot, you scored 44 on your tacky jump, which when we compare to the average score was 48. It was slightly below. However, when we compared to the average female, it was 41. This is above average. Factors that would have affected your performance in the tacky jump is your gender. Females are biologically weaker than males, so therefore your score would have been lower. Also, how confident you are will affect how much effort you put in, which can result in a higher score. This jump mass test is so important when we do jump shots. So when looking at your strengths, one of your strengths is your lower body power. This is proven by your jump score being above the average of females. With this technique, you can apply your strength to the advantage for the rebound or jump shot. I would suggest for you to carry on doing what you're doing, but also incorporate weight training such as lunges, squats, and plyometric exercises, which would overall improve your lower body power and consequently improve your overall performance as you're able to jump high for both drop shot and rebound. The higher you can jump for drop shot, the decreased distance between the ball and the net, which makes more likely success. So when we look at your weaknesses, Jade, it is mainly your technique for the jump shot. So for this, we're going to put you on a training program using the FIT principles. It will be over a period of a week with 3 sessions. This will include drills and tests, with at the start and end of each session we will record a jump shot from the client, which is you, and see how much you have progressed through the sessions. Each session we will increase the intensity and duration. Drills will include 10 shots from the ground to improve and focus on your technique, such as where your hand is or how well your arm is bent at 90 degrees. And we will also include jump shots with and without a defender. For the sport principle, this will be linked to the drills that you will perform. The drills will be specific to the sport, which is basketball. To progressive overload, I will increase the difficulty of the drills, and due to the shortness of the program, you wouldn't have any tedium as it's only short. Thank you for listening.